For decades, we've seen gender and racial wealth gaps impact communities of color across the country. Just last month, Governor Maura Healey signed the Massachusetts wage equity legislation, known as the Frances Perkins Workplace Equity Act. This makes Massachusetts the 11th state to put this law into effect, requiring employers to disclose salaries when posting job positions. In efforts to promote equal pay for equal work, this bill also requires public and private employers with 100 or more employees to submit wage data reports to the state. But local businesses are already making headway with their employees, specifically their female employees, in terms of pay transparency. Imagine walking into your 9-to-5 job each day with the knowledge that someone is making more money for the same job. The Forbes Advisor says that on average, women earn wages 16% less than men. As wage gaps persist, women in Boston make up more than half of the workforce. But how can local employers contribute to bridging these gaps?
According to our 2023 Racial and Gender Wage Gap Report, Black women only earn 46 cents for every dollar that white men earn in Greater Boston. And Latina women only earn 48 cents for every dollar that white men earn. So less than half of what white men earn in Greater Boston. So that was really disappointing to see. And we know that comes from the intersectional relationship between gender and race and those marginalized identities.
Lauren Noonan is the engagement manager at the Boston Women's Workforce Council, where her contributions in research and outreach help employers and employees build a more transparent relationship in pay equity.
When we collect our actual data collection, we partner with Boston University's Software Application Innovation Labs. They help us implement multi-party computation, which is an encryption software. And what we do is we have this fancy spreadsheet, and all of the local businesses who sign our 100% Talent Compact Pledge, known as our Compact Signers, they enter their gender and racial pay role data.
These compact signers are organization leaders that meet to share policies and solutions in order to provide more equitable work environments. Kim Borman is executive director of the Boston Women's Workforce Council. Over the past 4 years, she's helped to implement more updated and accurate information to educate employers.
We're tackling this. It's going to take some time, but this, again, is the way that you solve the problem, we believe, is that you have to measure it, and you have to continually measure it.
The Bulfinch Companies are one of over 250 businesses that have contributed payroll data for the Women's Workforce Council's Wage Gap Report. Pamela Yang, the managing director and chief operating officer, has focused on building a strong team with leading women since signing the compact last year.
We build a pipeline also from promotion standpoint. You know, in 2024, 50% of the people who got promoted are women. And then last year was even more, was 75%. But if you compared with 3 years ago, it was less than a quarter of people who got promoted.
The long-term goal for Pamela is to keep the momentum in pride as well as transparency.
I couldn't be more proud, you know, when I look at the company as the COO, to see the women colleagues, and not just the women colleagues, really everybody, have this sense of belonging. Hopefully, we'll keep that culture going for the foreseeable future.
The City of Boston's Chief of Equity and Inclusion, Mariangeli Solis Cervera, has been in the workforce since she was 14 years old.
I'm a first-generation queer Latina who is a proud daughter of parents that have done everything they could to get me to how far I've gotten. I wouldn't be here without any member of my family.
Mariangeli's identity drives her commitment to addressing racial and gender wage gaps. From teaching English to non-native speakers, to then transitioning into government and policy work, Mariangeli sees the value in looking at life from a bird's eye view.
When you create spaces and conditions for people to actually introduce their different thinking and different perspectives, the work doesn't get done faster, but you can produce things of quality. And in this administration, but we do encourage other employers to think about this.
With plans to expand their research and partnerships, the Boston Women's Workforce Council and Boston City Hall reminds us what keeps them grounded.
I'm just really grateful that I'm able to be in a space that does enable change and to be around people who are, working every day to make Greater Boston a better place for everyone to work.
But know your worth. Know your worth.
And joining us now to talk about the wage equity legislation is Lauren Jones, the Secretary for the Executive Office of Labor and Workforce Development in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Lauren, what did it take to get this bill passed into law?
Well, great to see you, and thank you for the opportunity to speak on this important milestone. There has been years in the making to get this bill to Governor Healey's desk just recently. And we know that there's been so many amazing champions, including former Lieutenant Governor Evelyn Murphy, along with so many advocates, the legislature, business coming to the table and really working collaboratively so that we in Massachusetts can really drive greater wage transparency, wage equity, and tackle the steps that we need to do here in Massachusetts to really close the wage gaps that we know are evident when looking at wage salaries for women and people of color compared to their counterparts.
So tell us more about what this bill means for workers in Massachusetts.
Well, in Massachusetts, you often hear Governor Healey talking about the emphasis of driving more affordability, more competitiveness, and more equity. And that rings true within our workforce and rings true even more when you look at how this bill has been shaped. We really want to make sure that this is a resource for employers to step up and make sure that they are in introducing the components of this bill so that their workers, as well as new talent that they are able to attract, know that there is a wage range that will be available. So people know the wage range that's available for the jobs, as well as if they're ready for a promotion and know what the wage range will be. For employers that also have 100 or more employees, they will also be reporting data to the state, and through the Executive Office of Labor and Workforce Development, we will publish that on an annual basis moving forward. So this is really important to make sure that employers have the resources to be able to attract and retain the talent that they have here, and for Massachusetts to really lead in making sure that we are tackling the wage gaps that we know exist here.
Lauren, until the bill goes into effect in July of 2025, what's the next step for employers?
Well, we appreciate being able to cover news like this, making sure that employers across all regions of the state are aware of this new law. The Attorney General by law will be doing a campaign to help raise more awareness. And so there's going to be some of that awareness building, and we're going to continue to engage with the business community to do so. We also know starting in the new year, we will be collecting data for the employers that have 100 or more employees. And through the Executive Office of Labor and Workforce Development, we'll take that data as at an aggregate level to start publishing by the end of June 30th of next year.
All right, Lauren Jones. Lauren Jones, thanks for joining us today.